Let's start with the AFC, and this is going to be the first game of the day of the week. It is Kansas City at Jacksonville. So,
or the other way around.
Kansas City coming off a bye week.
Is it in Jacksonville at Kansas City, or is it neutral site?
Yeah, Jacksonville at Kansas City. Did I say that backwards?
Yeah, you said it backwards. Yeah.
Okay, Jacksonville at Kansas City. Kansas City coming off of a bye week. Jacksonville coming off of a thriller game that was absolutely nuts. If you guys follow us on Instagram, I was at the game. It was the best game I've ever been to, the best game I've ever seen. From a Jacksonville Jaguars fans perspective, it was probably the greatest game in Jaguars history. It was an incredible game.
Where are you sitting at?
I was sitting at the nosebleeds. That was all I could get. Tickets got really expensive. I mean, I paid $150 for those nosebleeds, but you know what? I don't regret it.
Let's playoff. Let's playoff.
And I waited last minute. It was resale because I wasn't planning on going, but then I decided last minute. And thank God I did. I mean, like, man, what an incredible! That was my first playoff football game that I've been to in live action. So
packed house.
Packed house. It was awesome to see. It was the first time I've seen the stadium packed out like that in my lifetime. Absolutely nuts. The fan base was crazy. Wasn't a lot of Chargers fans, so it was great to see it like filled, but not filled with another team's fan base.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely nuts. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, man, the resilience to come back from throwing 4 picks in one half. To then
it was looking shaky. You know, I was telling jokes in the chat. I was telling all these jokes. I was slander.
I was with my buddy, and he was like, "Man, it's halftime." He's like, "Man, you just want to go?" I was like, "Nah, man, I paid way too much. I drove way too far. I'm sitting here and I'm gonna watch them fucking lose." Okay, I'm gonna sit my ass in my seat and watch them lose. And lo and behold, they make a miraculous comeback. The people next to me actually ended up leaving.
Yeah,
but man, could you imagine?
Dude,
I was hearing somebody say. Yeah. I was gonna say, I hear somebody say like. I was hearing people say, like, there's 2 types of people that went to the game. There's the people that stuck it out and watched it all and saw this incredible game. And then there's the people who left and are pretending that they stuck it out and watched the whole game.
The doubters.
There's the people that they're pretending, they're lying about being there. So,
bunch of phonies.
But they actually weren't. But now you got a tough test in Kansas City, a team you already faced before. And Doug Peterson going against his mentor, his longtime colleague of Andy Reid, coming from the Andy Reid coaching tree. It's the second rematch, but I think this is a different Jaguars team. Kansas City has been Kansas City all year round. I thought this could potentially be a year where maybe they dip down a little bit, but nope, they still, got first in the AFC. But I think this is going to be it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think it would have been better than if the Chargers made it, to be honest with you. I think you have a guy like Doug Peterson who understands what Andy Reid likes, what he dislikes. But then on the other side, you got the same thing where Andy Reid, he's like, hey, look, everything Doug Peterson, I don't want to say everything he's learned has been from Andy Reid, but a lot of it he's heavily influenced by. But Gabe, what do you think going into this matchup?
I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like, as far as matchups, I think it would have been more fun. I think it's more fun to have the the LA Chargers face Kansas City. But Jaguars are deserving. It's a tale of 2 halves, that game. One first half, second half, completely different team came out to win. So, I still don't have Jaguars going in. I'm still a doubter. I'm a hater. I'm the guy leaving the stadium early because I was giving that slander, dude. I was like, let me put a Titanic meme, going down with the ship. But guess what? Stuck it out. Y'all are playing with house money to me. So this matchup, as far as like Kansas City, I think Kansas City is a good team. Obviously, they have all the hype. As far as like comparing to their championship run, I don't think they're as good as they were when they won the championship. They're a good team, but I think they have diminished. Overall, not to say that they're playing bad. Like, it didn't matter. Like, they started off. No, it seemed like in the beginning of the season, like it didn't even matter the jersey numbers. Like, losing Tyreek Hill, losing their weapons. It seemed like it didn't matter. So in that sense, they're still good. But I don't know, man. I mean, as far as Cinderella teams, a chance to steal. Yeah, like I said, Jaguars are playing with house money. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is closer than you thought. I think what's the point spread? It's like what, eight and a half?
Eight and a half. 8.5. We can talk about how which direction we're gonna go at the end of it. But I will say, man, there's gonna be some really interesting matchups though. I think like you said, Kansas City, I think Jacksonville's game plan has to be like, yo, you gotta stop Travis Kelce. You have to. Yeah. Honestly, Juju Smith, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Tony and all that, they don't really scare me too much, honestly. Like, yes, they can distribute the ball, and it seems like Kansas City's been playing more by wide receiver by committee, not so much, obviously, now that Tyreek's gone, not so much by like one guy. But you still have Travis Kelce, who's probably going to go down as the greatest tight end to ever play the game. You got to stop him. You got to stop him. The run game doesn't scare me. And you got to press. You have to press Patrick Mahomes. You have to get after him. And it's going to be tough because Kansas City has 3 Pro Bowlers on that offensive line. I think the game is going to be won and lost in the trenches. And then you got, because Kansas City on the other side of the ball, they don't have the most dynamic edge rushers, but on that inside, you got Chris Jones. Chris Jones, all-pro player, 15.5 sacks this year. By far the best player on their defense. But the corners don't scare me. Christian Kirk had just over 100 yards, 2 tuds last game. I think this game is going to be a real shootout. But I think one advantage that Jacksonville has is their run game is a lot better than Kansas City's. I think for sure. And I think Jacksonville's defense is not so last game was 27-17, but in that last game, if you watched it, you could say that Jacksonville left some points on the board. The game got a little too far away from them. They messed up and lost some points that should have been there. But like we said, this defense is completely revamped. At the time, we didn't have one of our starting corners that we currently have now. Or we have Tyson Campbell, who was there. But then you had Darius Williams, which he was playing inside in the beginning half in the slot in the beginning half of the season. But then they moved him outside to outside corner, and he's been like fantastic. And now the secondary has been playing a lot stronger, and which makes me feel really confident about being able to hold Juju and Valdez and Tony and all those guys. So I think this game's going to be really close, man. I really do. Like,
no. I think it's gonna be closer. And listen, the thing about I'm trying to think of back of all the betting lines that they have for Kansas City. They're usually pretty high. They're like 13, 14 points. So 8.5 points is like giving you respect. I think Vegas thinks it's gonna be closer than it was. If you look at the Kansas City schedule, especially towards the end of the season, it's within like 14, 10 points. Like, I mean, that's 1 or 2 drives. There's a couple games where it's double digits, but all the games have been, the last half of the season, Kansas City has had close games where you think they're going to outscore. They're going to put up 40, 50 points, and it's a lot closer. So I think the game is going to be a lot tighter than people expect. But here's the thing: you can't have T-Law, Trevor Lawrence be the best passer for Kansas City Chiefs. What he did, like in the beginning, four turnovers, 4 interceptions in the first
4 interceptions.
The first quarter.
Two of them, I don't think were on him.
There were some bad throws. There was some where he threw short, or he
had that crazy tip, and then the one where he threw behind him.
Yeah, that
was pass interference, and it was a misread by the receiver. But I also think it was past that the reffing in that game was really like shaky. Like if you go back and like there was a lot, and I would say it on both sides too. There were some calls Los Angeles should have got, but they weren't. They were honestly really letting him play when it came to like pass interference. There was not a lot of pass interference calls.
So I mean, we'll see, man. It's gonna be tough for Jack. I mean, obviously you're coming off a week. The Kansas City's been well rested. We'll see. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a lot closer. I still got Kansas City winning, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer. The game is a lot tighter. And you guys, to me, are the Cinderella team. Like you guys are. Nobody thought you should be there. Nobody thinks you should. Could have got there. But here you are. You're deep in the playoffs. You got through the first round. Now you're facing a tough team, and that's weird because even if like my Dolphins got through, they would have the toughest road to hoe. Right? You had to beat the Bill. You got to. Beat the Bills. Then if you won, you got to beat Kansas City. They had the toughest road to hoe if you want to
Yeah.
make it to the Super Bowl. So
I will say, I'm glad the Jags are actually facing Kansas City. I like our odds against Kansas City than would be Buffalo because of that familiarity. Like the fact that you were there, it's nothing new. You've seen that atmosphere in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson knows Andy Reid. They know each other very well. Like you have potential matchup favorites. Like I said, I like Evan Ingram in that role against Kansas City. I think it's going to be a real shootout. I think this game is really going to come down to defensive turnovers. And I saw some wild stat that Patrick Mahomes has never given up a turnover in the playoffs or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's entirely true. I heard that though.
Oh, I saw a thing that Trevor Lawrence doesn't lose on Saturdays. That's what I heard. That was a thing on TikTok.
Trevor Lawrence.
It's like a TikTok or Twitter or something. Like he don't lose on Saturdays.
He
plays on Saturday.
He hasn't. He hasn't lost on Saturdays, which is pretty wild when you think about it. Man, it's going to be a really good game. I think Kansas City really has to. I was going to say, I feel like if they can really establish the run game, they can get it. But like, they haven't really established the run game all year, and they're still just like.
I mean, they got a pretty good pair. They got a pretty good pair of guys.
What's the other? You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then
Pacheco.
That guy. Pacheco, he had a decent season. I think he had about 700 yards or something like that, which if you're running two running back system.
Yeah.
But I think that I like the Jags being able to stop the run, but it's going to come down to the trenches, man. You got 3 Pro Bowlers, but like I said, Jacksonville's defensive line is stepping up big time. They're stepping up with them. If you look at overall team stats of the Jags defense, it hasn't looked good, but like I said, playing that opportunistic football, getting after it. This game's going to be a shootout. I like the Jags with the plus 8.5. I think it's going to be within that range. Like I said, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they win this game. I think Kansas City's going to move forward. If you had to bet your life on it, you would say Kansas City's going to win this game. But I will say, I will not be shocked for the Jags.
Yeah.
I'll be happy if they win it, and I think it's going to be a really good game. And I know for a fact it's going to be within 8.
I'm going to say
it's going to be a 3-point game.
For Jags to have a chance, y'all got to play clean. Y'all got to protect the ball, play clean, no turnovers. That's even to have a chance to even stay close with Kansas City because the game can get away from you. By the way, Pacheco 830 yards, about 50 yards a game. Yeah, and only 5 touchdowns. So they don't score a lot of rushing touchdowns. Kansas City, but when you have Patrick Mahomes, you really don't need to.
Setting up that, you just can't get him going. I mean, force Patrick to throw it, which obviously he's going to, but if you can at least take away one element of it, and then the defensive lineman can pin their ears back and just get after the quarterback and try to win other one-on-one matchups, that's your shot. You know what I mean? That's your chance. And like I said, like you look at that last game, Jaguars weren't the same team. And they missed 2 field goals that game, and they should have scored a touchdown in that game.
Yeah,
that was left in that game. You think about how much closer that could have been.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They got to play clean. You gotta. You have to.
Yeah.
Be efficient.
You can't do what you did against.
Yeah.
You cannot do what you did against the Chargers because everybody, like I said, it like outside the stadium. I was like, bro, Chargers going to charge you. Like Chargers going to charge you. They're going to fuck up when they're not supposed to. Obviously, we saw the offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi get fired. I think yesterday. But this is a team, man. If you give up 4 turnovers, you ain't coming back.
No way. Not in the first quarter.
Not with Andy Reid calling plays. Not with Patrick Mahomes slinging the rock. But
y'all got through
the 52. There's 52 points over under. I might take the over on that.
Oh no, I'm gonna take the under. I think it'll be closer. 50 points. That means like 30 to 20, possibly. I might go.
No, I like what would that be? What?
I wonder if there's.
Man, I was going to say I was thinking 27-24, but that is 52.
Yeah,
that's bad math. No, that's 51. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised. Look at 31-30, like something like that. I could see that. I would probably take the over on the 52.
Man, that's a shootout. Oh. Well, I mean, we'll see.
It's going to be. It's 100% going to be.
So 8.5 points. Just to get our final predictions, I'm gonna go with Kansas City. Kansas City 8.5.
You think you're gonna get Kansas City? I'm going. Dude, I'm on a roll, man. Jags are on a 7-game win or 6-game.
They're always on a 6-game
winning streak.
Was it? It's always been the Jags.
It was always the Jags. Yeah, that's been the slogan this year. Look, man, I'm on a 6-game winning streak with picking the Jags. They're on a 6-game winning streak, winning. Look, I'm taking the points. I don't know if they win this game, but you know what? Fuck it. They're going to win this game. Fuck it. They're going to upset it. They're going to do what Joe Burrow did last year in Arrowhead and win it. Even if they don't win it, I still win because I know for a fact it's going to be within 8. Kansas City ain't going to win by 10 this game.
All right. Y'all are playing with house money, man. I mean,
also too, the Texans took Kansas City to overtime. Like what, the final week of the year? No, second and final week of the year. And the Broncos almost beat them. Those are bad offenses. So they're not like coming into the playoffs super hot right now.